Today, network security. Network security is one of the areas many people have challenged in the exam. But we're looking at 10 questions today that will help you to get ready. That will give you an idea of how well prepared you are in this domain. So the first question we are looking at today is question. The address, as we see on the screen, this address is an what? That is, what kind of address is this? So A is a web address, B is an IPv4 address, C IPv6 address, D MAC address. So we need to understand what web address means, what IPv4 means, what IPv6 means, what MAC address means. So understanding what a IPv4 address is. IPv4 address, we all know the way the format, Internet Protocol version 4. It's usually something 198.106. Could be any of those format. IPv6 address, we need to understand how it looks like. The MAC address is address for hardware, network interface hardware. The address for identifying the network interface on the local network, on an internet network. So we also have the web address. URL is referred to the web address, which here we have www something. So what answer do we have here? What's the correct answer? So let's see. This is an IPv6 address. The address consists of 8 groups of 4 hexadecimal digits separated by colons, which is a standard format for IPv6 address. IPv4 address use 4 sets of decimal numbers, like I said, 192.168.1.1. MAC address use 6 groups of hexadecimal digits separated by colons or hyphens. This format clearly identified it as IPv6 address. So the difference between this MAC address, 6 groups of hexadecimal digits separated by columns. So this is 8 groups of hexadecimal digits. That's the difference between IPv6 and MAC, because you may be confused that, okay, this looks like a MAC address. No, this is not a MAC address. So let's go to the next question. A web server that accepts requests from an external client should be placed in which network? 1. Intranet. 2. B. DMZ. DMZ means demilitarized zone. C. Internal network. D. VPN, which is the virtual private network. So question is, a web server that accepts requests from external clients. So the idea is external clients. So when the request comes from an external client, where does it go in the network? Where is the safe place where it is kept in the network? Let's see the answer and get the explanation. For us, if you need to understand what VPN is like a tunnel for connecting. Intranet is like a network within a space that is localized. It's not dealing with external clients. Definitely, it's not external. Internal network, same thing. Internal is an internal network within maybe an organization's network. It's not dealing with external. So DMZ is likely our answer. So let's check the answer. DMZ obviously is the answer, and it's called demilitarized zone. It's a physical or logical subnetwork that contains and exposes external facing services such as web servers. It also acts as a buffer between the public internet and the internal network, allowing external access to services while protecting the internal network from direct exposure. So placing a web server in the internal network or intranet will expose sensitive system to unnecessary risk, while a VPN is for secure remote access, not hosting public services. So like I said, VPN creates a tunnel between a device outside the network and a particular server, and it provides secure remote for connecting remotely. So you can't put a web server in an internal network or an intranet. This will expose sensitive systems. So a demilitarized zone is a logical subnetwork for external facing services. Question: which of the following principles primarily aims at fraud detection? 1. A. Privileged accounts. B. Defense in depth. C. Least privilege. D. Separation of duties. So what's a privileged account, defense in depth, least privilege account, separation of this? We will talk about this briefly in the previous domain, especially about least privilege and defense in depth. So let's see the answer. Separation of duties. So it aims at fraud detection. Why? Because while separation of duties is often categorized under access controls, it plays a critical role in secure network and system design. By dividing critical tasks among multiple individuals, it ensures that no single person can complete a potentially fraudulent action alone, making it easier to detect irregularities. This principle enhances network security by preventing threats, insider threats, and unauthorized changes to network configuration. So separation of duty is simply saying one person cannot just decide everything that happens within an organization, especially critical functions. 2 or 3 persons should be involved. One person will sign, another person will sign, another person will approve. It prevents fraudulent action. So if a fraud happens, 3 or 4 persons must have agreed for the fraud to happen. So that may be difficult to achieve. So just checks fraud and helps to detect fraud. Next question is, which device is used to connect it? If you want all these practice questions, just comment success blueprint in the comment sections, and I will send you a link where you can download this for free and practice yourself. LAN to the internet. This seems a straightforward question. Is it a SIM? Is it an HIDS? Is it a router? Is it a firewall? So what is a SIM? It's security information, incidents and event management tool. HIDS, hybrid internal intrusion detection system. Router, we know what router is for, routing networks. And firewalls for regulation. So obviously, from just understanding the meaning of these terms, what the device, what the question, what the answer is. It's a router. The router is a networking device that forwards data packets between computer networks, commonly used to connect a local area network to the internet. So while firewalls provide security by filtering traffic, SIM and HIDS are for monitoring. The primary function of connecting networks, especially LAN to the internet, is performed by a router. Routers operate at layer 3, which is the network layer and the of the OSI model, and it uses IP address to determine packet forwarding paths. So obviously that is a router. Question: how many layers does the OSI model have? Is it 7? Is it 4? Is it 6? Is it D? The correct answer is 7, which is simply saying the OpenSI, the Open System Internet Connection model, organizes network communication into 7 distinct layers. So we have the physical data network, transport, session, presentation, and the application layer. There is another layer that is often used that has 4, that groups all these things into 4 layers, but OSI model actually makes use of 7 layers. So we are talking about each layer has specific functions and protocols, providing a standardized framework for understanding and troubleshooting network communication. This model is fundamental in network security for analyzing network vectors and designing secure protocols. Next question is, which of these attacks primarily aims to compromise availability? Also, we have talked about this before. So availability means that you having access to services or resources whenever you need them, especially when you have the authorization. So is it denial of services that attacks availability, phishing, trojans, or cross-site scripting? So from even the options, the correct answer is A, which is denial of service, which means you are not services is made unavailable. So a denial of service attack, including its distributed form, DDoS, aims to overwhelm a system, service, or network with excessive traffic, rendering it unavailable, which is the keyword, to legitimate users. Directly targets the availability component of the CIA triad, unlike phishing, trojans, or XSS, which aim to steal data and gain unauthorized access. DOS attack or distribution of denial of service attacks focus on disrupting services, making them primary concern in network security. Let's take another question, which says, which device will be more effective in detecting an intrusion into a network? So we are detecting intrusion here. detecting intrusion. So A, routers, B, HIDs, C, firewalls, D, NIDs. So we have two similar options here. We have the HIDs and we have the NIDs. Of course, we know HIDs is the host intrusion detection system, and the NIDs is network intrusion detection system. Obviously, we know it's not a firewall. Firewall is for filtering traffic. Routers is for, we've already looked at routers just a few minutes ago. So which one is effective in detecting intrusion into a network? So knowing the definition of HIDs and NIDs. HIDs is host, NIDs is network, and the question says detecting network. So obviously the answer is NIDs. So network-based intrusion detection system is specifically designed to monitor and analyze traffic for suspicious activities and known attack patterns. While firewalls filter traffic between routes, HIDs monitor individual hosts. NIDs provides broad visibility across the network. Routers manage traffic flow back, but lack deep inspection capabilities. Therefore, NIDs is the most effective choice for detecting network intrusions. Okay, the next question says, which security principle states that a user should have or should only have the necessary permission to execute a task? If we have looked at it also, we're talking about just limiting the permissions a user has to the task is there to execute. So is it a privileged account? Of course not. Separation of duties? No, we just talk about separation of duties. Least privilege sounds most appropriate. Defense in depth is layer of defense, just protection, certain protection. So which one is talking about permission? Least privilege is talking about permission. So the answer is least privilege, which means the principle of least privilege is a core concept in network security, requiring that users and systems be granted only the minimum access necessary to perform their function. This reduces the attack surface and limits the potential damage from compromised accounts. For example, a regular employee should not have administrative access to network routers or firewalls. This principle is essential for securing network infrastructure and preventing lateral movements during breaches. So let's look at one question. Another question is, which of these tools is commonly used for cracking passwords? So when we are talking about tools used for cracking passwords, there are a lot of tools out there. So we have listed here. The options are Bob Suite, NS Lookup, John the Ripper, Wireshark. Bob Suite, is for interrogating, traffic. When you want to break down what is going on within a network, it can be used for application, testing an application. So it's more of like investigating, what is going on in the network or what's going on inside the traffic. NS Lookup is looking up of NS, is a domain name service lookup, checking up domain name service in the internet. John the Ripper is a password cracker. Wireshark is also for investigating network traffic. So we're looking at what is going on within the network. That's John the Ripper for you. So the correct answer is obviously John the Ripper. John the Ripper is a widely used password cracking tool that employs dictionary attacks, brute force, rainbow tables to recover password from hashes. While Bob Suite is for web application testing, I mentioned web application testing. NS Lookup queries DNS records for DNS services. Wireshark analyzes network traffic. John the Ripper is specifically designed for password recovery in network security. Understanding such tools helps in strengthening password policies and detecting weak credentials. So final question we're looking at here is which type of attack takes advantage of inadequate input validation in websites? So we're talking about website when you are filling a form online, you're going to put in maybe you are filling a form, you're submitting your name or you're submitting some information. The kind of information you submit should be streamlined. You shouldn't just be allowed to type in script or type in code or some kind of characters. So an attack that takes advantage of when such inputs into net forms you are filling online or when you are providing your data online, when something that when such input is not validated to be sure that it's the right kind of input. So that kind of vulnerability can be exploited under an attack. So which attack here falls under that category? A, phishing. We all know what phishing means: setting up of a fake, web page or fake, place, tricking people to thinking, to clicking links, visiting a different site. That's what phishing is all about. Trojans like a malware, where it's a malware or application that pretends to be doing something else. Meanwhile, there are codes hidden inside, so when you click on it, it launches a different attack. Cross-site scripting obviously happens on web, front end on web pages when you are filling forms, take advantage and hijack your session fill form. So obviously it looks like that is the answer. And rootkits, of course, rootkits are happens in the root system of the system. So obviously the correct answer is cross-site scripting. So one key thing when you're answering these questions, you need to know which is the correct answer and quickly move on to the next one. Because if you for example, if I'm treating this question, once I look through it and you know that it's not phishing, it's not Trojan, it's cross-site scripting, it's not rootkits, so just quickly move on in order to beat time. Because one of the unique things about ISC2 Certified in cybersecurity is the length of time people get burnt out within, not just because they don't know the question, but they got burnt out. I'm going to do a video on how to approach ISC2 Certified in cybersecurity exams in terms of the psychological state and state of mind too. So let's reveal the answer. The answer is C, as we said, cross-site scripting, which occurs when a web application includes untrusted data in its output without proper validation or sanitization. This allows attackers to inject malicious scripts into web pages viewed by others. This is a direct result of inadequate input validation. Unlike phishing, which is social engineering based, Trojan or rootkits are malware. XS exploits cross-site scripting, which is the same thing as XSS. They exploit web application vulnerability and is a major concern in securing web server placed in a demilitarized zone or cloud environments. Why demilitarized? Because that is where it's interfacing with external people trying to reach network. That is where you position web. That's where you position things that you want people to access from the external, from external sources. So please like, subscribe, and share with people that you know will need this information. That is what it's all about. If you're interested in having access to 75 free practice questions, just drop a comment, success blueprint, in the comment section, and I will send you a link where you can fill a form and then you get access to the 75 free questions. And if you want more than that, there is a success blueprint kit, cybersecurity success blueprint kit, that you can get when you go to cybersuccesstools.xyz. You can sign up for the kit. Inside the kit, I have more than 75 questions, more than 200 up to 400 questions that you can practice. I also have inside the kit an ebook that details how I passed my own exam, ISC2 Certified in Cybersecurity, Computer Security, how I went about it, and also links to other resources that helped to get into cybersecurity, like submission of applications for jobs, packaging your CVs. I also have inside the practice questions, for Computer Security Plus. I also have some AI chat prompts that you can help you to to tackle problems in cybersecurity, and so many other things packaged into this success blueprint kit. So it's available on cybersuccesstools.xyz. Please check it out, and please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel so that I can teach you and help you get into cybersecurity as fast as you want. Thank you.